Hello and welcome to another tutorial by Willie V of iTechster.com. In this tutorial we will be going over on how to use the ShadowBox feature within iWeb 09. Now, as far as I'm aware, the same process or technique will work with iWeb 08 as well. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll need to first create our HTML page. This page will include the actual player code however we choose to design it. Now it can be just a movie, it could be a flash player, a music file, pretty much whatever you want to be able to use, so long as that the ShadowBox supports it. So again, in our example, we will need to create our HTML page for our player. It can be a QuickTime movie or Flash player. It's your choice. For this example, we will be using a QuickTime movie along with an image, but you can do so with a line of text. The reason I say with an image is because we're going to use it in iWeb as a little placeholder. So if you're going to use a video, make sure that you create an image for that particular video that you want to use in this process. Alright, next we're going to be looking at the example code below. Be sure to include the full URL path unless everything resides in the same folder as your project. Now just save it as a HTML page along with an image placeholder that we will use in iWeb 09 HTML snippet. So the code below is a code that we're going to use for the example for our actual player that's within its own HTML page. So make sure you know what the path or URL location is for that particular HTML page. Okay, now here comes the fun part. We're going to go ahead and open up iWeb 09. So you start by creating your page. Once you have that done, select the HTML snippet, which will be on your right hand side, and place it wherever you want it to appear on your page. Now insert the HTML code needed that you see below, and this is actually what's going to be referencing to that HTML page that we're going to be using. And I'll show you exactly how we'll be getting to that. Now what you want to notice is that the code that I'm using, you're going to see part of it is in red. That is the actual size when we actually click the image that the video will actually play in. The coding that's in blue is the size of the image that's going to be within our iWeb page that we create. Now we need to edit a few HTML pages. So I'm going to show some images of where my iWeb site is located and as far as what pages I'm using. So for every HTML snippet you add, it will create its own widget markup HTML page. As shown below, since I'm only using one snippet, make sure you navigate to the correct folder for this. Each snippet will be labeled as widget 0 markup.html, and then if you have additional widgets on there, then it'll be widget 1, widget 2, widget 3, so on and so on. Now that you know which widget it is that you're going to be editing, you're going to go ahead and navigate to the HTML page that was created for that particular page on your iWeb site. So in my example, I'm using the page titled shadowbox.js.html. That is the page I'm going to edit, and you can use any HTML editor that you want for this process. Now we need to make two edits within the HTML page. The first one is you want to run a search, and you can actually basically see it at the top of the page. And it'll say iWebsite.javascript. When you find that first line, directly below that, you're going to go ahead and copy in or paste in your ShadowBox code that you're going to be using. Keep in mind, you need to already know how to use the ShadowBox in order for this to work correctly, because if you have the path name incorrect or it's not within the same folder, it's not going to work. So if you need more information on how to use ShadowBox, make sure you visit the developer's website. Next, the second line that we'll need to edit is where the actual widget 0 underscore HTML markup is actually located. You can just run a search for that particular line, widget 0 underscore HTML, and so on if you use multiple widgets for multiple videos within that page. Once you find that particular line of code from the beginning of script to the end of script, you want to copy it, delete it, and then replace it with the code below, which is actually referencing to the movie that we have on our HTML page. Now that you have that done, you want to go ahead and save your work. Make sure you keep a backup copy, because if you resave your iWeb site at any time, it will erase your work. So keep that in mind. It is very important to keep a backup copy. Now let's see the live example in action. So here's the example page that I'm using for the ShadowBox. And as you can see, I have the little image placeholder. When I click on the image, it will open up the web page, well, the player within the web page, and work correctly as it should. Anyway, I hope this helped out the folks that want to know how to use the ShadowBox feature within iWeb, because I know before it was pretty, you could use it but not really to its full potential. So anyways, hope you enjoyed that tutorial, and as always, this is Willie V, aka Bullboy Kennels of iTechster.com, and as always, thank you for taking the time to watch.